Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Groove Therapy. We're back at it with another session. Back to back weeks. Good. It feels empowering to be able to do these. And I am excited to bring you another guest of the year. Okay, cool. Well, tonight's guest, I'm excited to bring to you a good friend of mine that I got to. Hey, Ryan, could you mute Twitch? I think it's feeding through. Awesome. Thank you.
I muted.
Cool. Thank you, brother. So I'm excited to introduce you tonight's guest of the evening. Good friend of mine that I got to meet from Electric Forest. Get Discord or Zoom on here. All right. I present to you Ryan Witherspoon. Ryan, how's it going, brother? Can you hear me, Ryan? Hey, Ryan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. How's it going, man? Welcome to Groove Therapy. Thank you for taking the time to be here and as you say, make some magic happen, and excited to see what we come up with.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm stoked to be here to share some magic and explore.
Definitely. And for those of you that don't know how we met actually just a few months ago from Electric Forest, and throughout the whole weekend, the festival is just so busy that really didn't get to connect, much outside of like yoga on that Sunday, the last day before the storm happened. Uh, but like once we got out of the festival, we connected, and I don't even know how we connected. I think I saw that you were doing, uh, life coaching and stuff like that, and I figured, hey, might be good to have you on and see what you do, and also get involved in what for me to get involved in your coaching as well. So it's been pretty cool discussion and getting to know you ever since.
Yeah, you never really know who you're gonna meet and how paths are gonna cross and what's going to unfold from a simple conversation and just exploring each other's perspectives and what we each have to offer. We all have a beautiful gift to explore and to share with each other, so it's awesome to connect with you. And yeah, I wish we would have been able to connect a little bit more at Forest and explore more in person. I'm grateful for where we're at right now, though.
Definitely, definitely. There's just so much going on, like from day to night. Because in the morning they have all those wellness events. They have sound baths, they have yoga, they have meditations, and even just trying to get our pun intended, get our shit together. uh, from day to day, just so we can make it into the festival and then throughout the afternoon and night. So it's just like running around. Oh, we gotta go get ice. Oh, we gotta go, shower. Oh, go get food, stuff like that. And you kind of make a little bit chatter with people that you already know. Sometimes you make introductions when you can, but it's just so much involvement. And I think that's what I really like about Electric Forest is it embodies what I like to bring on the stream, is not just music, but it's music and wellness. And the forest, the magic of the forest really provides, for everyone. Just sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool. And as I've explored Forest more and more, and like year after year, it's you get to see more of what it's all about and how people come together and get to share all these different aspects of life. And it's far more than just music there. It's about creativity. It's has a lot to do with just expression of who you are as a whole and as a collective. And then yeah, all the different workshops that they offer, just aside from, the mind-blowing music and dancing and laughter that's had, like you have a real chance to like try new things that are way outside the box. And yeah, it's really, like you said, it's a challenge to, you can explore the forest for the whole weekend and still see just like this tiny little bit of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, like next year, like this year was a fantastic lineup. Like amongst like the improvements that they made to the forest, which I didn't even think was possible, to like the killer lineup that they had. Like I almost wish next year is not as good of a lineup, just so it gives me a chance to explore that alternate avenue. Just immersing myself in the forest, because like you get time to sit there and get to soak it in a little bit, but then you're like, oh, am I missing someone that I want to go see? And
Hmm.
stuff like that. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, you really gotta pick and choose, and at the same time, it's all about the flow there. It's like whatever you feel called to, whatever, is calling your name, and wherever you're getting pulled to, it's like you have to follow that. And some points it's like, all right, I know I want to do this rather than doing this, even though something's pulling me over here. Uh yeah, I resonate with that. Next year it's like, how can I, well, my main goal is just how can I be as immersed as I can at a place like this? How can I, be as curious and open to whatever it is, whoever I'm going to meet, whatever sets I'm going to see. It's like, and I always come back to wherever you're at in the world, whatever you're doing, to one of my favorite Ram Dass quotes. It's like, where you're at is exactly where you're supposed to be. It's the
Mm,
lesson, that you need. And that's what Forrest reminds me of. It's like, oh man, I wish I saw this set, or I wish I was able to be with these people. And it's, you're always right where you need to be.
mm-hmm. Definitely. And you've been going for how long?
2014 was my first year. So,
Okay.
so that would be, so nine years.
Okay. Yeah. And I forget what year that they switched it over from Rothbury to Electric Forest, but
I believe 2009 was the last year of Rothbury. I think
okay.
10 was the
Okay.
first Electric Forest.
Gotcha. So you got 1 year above me. That's awesome. And you're right there, which is even better.
Oh, it's my backyard. That's why
Uh,
it's I love it. I'm grateful for that because it makes it that much easier to get there for me.
Definitely. For sure. So, moving on from Electric Force, this is a good segue to get into, what you do and why you're here tonight. You want to give us a little bit of intro to, you know, uh, your Soul Mountain coaching and yoga and just things that you're passionate about, for those who aren't familiar?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for asking, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's Ryan Witherspoon. I am extremely passionate about understanding the world, understanding myself, what it means to be Ryan, what it means to be more than Ryan, and like understand my soul at the deepest level I can. So I have come across a lot of different avenues that have been very expanding for me, through one of the main things being Electric Forest. That was one of the first opening experiences that I had to a new way of living and a new opportunity to express myself and be curious. Um, I am a carpenter by trade. That's one of my greatest passions, is to build things. And I learned so much from it. It creates a way for me to have fun, to learn how to problem solve. And through just health and wellness and going through a lot of challenges in my life with health and making poor decisions around health habits in the past, and it led to a lot of um, negative self-talk and depression, um, and then discovering great people and great community through music and through travel, through exploring the country, and particularly exploring the mountains. That's where my soul mountain comes from. it's a metaphor for exploring the soul, for exploring soul potential. And I believe that, you know, each life is an individual mountain. So expanding and climbing up a mountain is a journey, and it's a never ending journey. When you get to one mountain peak, you quickly see that there is a shit ton more mountain peaks to be climbed, and more, you know, avenues to go and different routes to go up the mountain. Um, so Soul Mountain is my way of being curious, and with my coaching, I've gone through processes of learning and understanding what's been super beneficial to me. And one of the biggest things is mindset and language, and I believe that's the stem to all achievement and to change, and to realizing how you can find what's most desirable for you, and live the life that you want to live, based on how you see yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others. And and a lot of that has come through my practice with yoga. I've recently, in the past few years, been deep diving into yoga and the philosophy of it, and the practice of asana, and how it helps me understand myself. And it's been a real journey to, you know, move through the different places of being with myself every day, you know, finding out what's coming through, how I feel in my body. You know, what we feel in our body is a reflection of what we feel in our mind and in our heart and stuff, and how we move through emotions. And that's a real manifestation of it. So yoga has been extremely powerful for me to just learn, be present, sit with my breath, be honest and vulnerable in wherever I'm at. And that allows me to, you know, be able to do the same for other people and other experiences. And yeah, life is just one big journey, you know, finding our way back to our home, back to our soul. And yeah, I'm very grateful to be here as a human. um like I was saying a little bit earlier, like, we all have this beautiful gift, and we all have the opportunity to learn from each other. um and and that's one of my biggest passions, is to be a student as well as be a teacher. You know, the things that I'm learning, I know
Mm-hmm.
can be beneficial to others, and I know that there's no right or wrong way to live life. There's only doing the best you can with, you know, what you got, and what you know in the present moment. Um and learning from those experiences, and remembering to be graceful with yourself in the process. And and so yeah, Soul Mountain is an exploration of myself, and a way for me to be of service to the world, in any way that I can. And yeah, that's a lot of what I do with my coaching. Is like I was saying, it's based around language. It's based around mindset, and figuring out what these stories in our head are telling ourselves, and how these stories keep us stuck. And these stories are often very in your face, and you remember, and you have a thought process of what you believe the experience to be, based on your prior experiences, based on, you know, insecurities and limits that are often, you know, put on you without you knowing, that grown up in certain family situations, certain experiences, and, you know, becoming this victim of, you know, this is happening to me rather than this is happening for me. You know, and that's like a huge shift in my perspective of, like, every single thing is happening for me. The universe is always conspiring for me. And when I'm able to bring that light to others, it's it's like you can see the light bulb go off in their head. They're like, oh shit, like this is an opportunity. What's the lesson? Failure is a big sham. If you're failing, then you're not listening, and because there's always something to learn, and there's always that level of growth that can be there. um and yeah, and then so nature is a big powerful thing for me, with the way that our society has been built over the past years is a huge disconnect. And through my journeys in the mountains and exploring hiking and backpacking, it's a big remembering that humans are nature, and we often forget that we're a part of it. And so my mission is to bring back humans into nature and into their self and into their soul, and find that avenue of traveling their own route up the mountain.
Yeah, beautifully said, brother. And like I could just tell from hearing you speak about all that, like you've done a lot of inner work to be able to come up with that wisdom and that knowledge to share with us. So appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about Soul Mountain coaching. Is that a business that you are the founder of?
Yes, yeah. Soul Mountain is my coaching business. I've been coaching for um, around a year now, and it's a myriad of different practices, from incorporating different movement practices, and discovering health and wellness and what that means to you, and then working with um, again, language and story work, and learning that whatever these stories are in our head, we wrote them, and we may have been unconscious when we wrote them, and these stories are something that can be rewritten at any point and used as fuel to the fire to move forward and keep going. And yeah, so Soul Mountain is my coaching business, and which is a myriad of different things, from lifestyle coaching and mindset coaching, as well as my yoga teaching.
Dope. Dope. It's cool that you realized that you wanted to take that into not just something for yourself, but something that you could share with others, and really help them, as I'm about to experience here within the next week or two. Um, that I'm grateful that you were able to acknowledge that and share that with others. So very very
Mm-hmm.
cool. And how long have you been doing this?
I've been coaching for a year now, and teaching yoga for 2 years, um, and I've been on this journey, this awakening, for six years now. 2018 was like my real expansion. I first went down to Peru to sit in ceremony with ayahuasca, and that was the pivotal moment of like, life can never be the same again, kind of thing.
Mm,
You have these experiences, and it's like, all right, you've opened a door, and there's no going back to it,
mm,
to the old ways. And we always fall back into patterns and stuff, but there's always that knowledge of like, it's different now.
mm-hmm. It's like the essence of Aya is with you now, and it, she, whatever the spirit is won't let you go back. Like you're stuck and progressing forward in like the best way that serves you moving forward. And I've experienced that as well too. Um, Once I got out of ceremony, like it's weird because you ride this like high when you first get back from ceremony, and then it starts to taper off, and it's like, okay, this is where you could be. Now here's all the lessons you have to go through to get back to that level. It's like a little
Mm-hmm.
taste of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, integration is the biggest part of any experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, learning how to integrate whether it's with plant medicine or with a profound, just completely sober state, or going to a music festival, or having, a long talk with one of your homies. Like, it's these, it's how you integrate it into the body and into the heart of like and that's the biggest challenge, I believe, with a lot of people, is like knowing how to integrate things and knowing how to keep the momentum rolling, um, is is a huge challenge, because you can read as many books as you want, or you can listen to as many podcasts as you want, and it's like you have a knowledge or some of what you're getting into, and then turning that into wisdom and turning that into something that can be shared. And that's been my experience with, a lot of things. It's having other coaches and going through other certifications, and then, you know learning that, taking the time to integrate them into how I can, utilize them, and make a change from what I just learned, and not just pack it away and keep it on the shelf, and say like, oh, I did these things. Um and it's and that's what's great about, one thing I've learned from yoga, is that like you're always a student, student first, and that's what life is. You can always be a student and also be a teacher simultaneously. Like, there's no, one or the other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's,
Mm-hmm.
you can be both, and I believe that everybody is.
Yeah, it's a back and forth synergistically between the two, and depending on who you come across, sometimes you're the student, sometimes you're the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dynamic that can be challenging sometimes, because sometimes you want to think that the ego wants to think that you know it all, that you're at the point that you need to be at, but then you learn something new from somebody, and you're like, oh no, they're really teaching me something right now. I need to sit back and just listen and uh and learn from this. But then there's sometimes you also intuitively know when you need to teach and when you need to go ahead and move things forward and kind of take the forefront of things,
Mm-hmm.
and lead a little bit. And that was something that I'm still struggling with, because you get that like imposter syndrome sometimes, where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this or if I'm experienced enough to do this. But you find ways where, when the things that you're passionate about, um, you get when you get enough experience about the things that you're passionate about, you just intuitively speak about them and know that you've accrued a lot of experience, knowledge, wisdom to go ahead and move ahead in a certain direction
Mm-hmm.
with things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a level of trust in yourself and in the universe, of like, we have these experiences, and being human, like, imposter syndrome is a funny word, because, you know it's it's fake in my view, because if you have imposter syndrome, then it's really just a beginner syndrome. Like, if you translate the imposter to beginner, like, you got to start somewhere. You got to begin somewhere. You're not just a guru or a teacher right out the get-go. You have everybody starts at some level and progresses forward. So like, being an imposter is really a big story in the mind of like, oh, I'm not good enough yet, or I need to do this to be able to say that I'm certified to do these things. And and it's a level of trust in yourself, that like, and acknowledging when you're wrong in certain scenarios. Like, if you can know that you're human and you make mistakes, then you really can't be wrong, because you're always open to learning and new perspectives, and it's okay to like change your perspective. I think that a lot of people get stuck on the identity of who they are and who they think they should be when they're moving in a certain way. And when you get stuck in those identities, um and like you said, like, the ego is like, wants to be the person to be all that and say I can do these things. And it's when you can recognize and own whatever it is that you're doing, and say, oh, I was wrong at this, or there's a different way to do this. Not even that you're wrong at something, but there's a different way to maneuver through this. And then trusting that whole process, like learning to trust and learning to listen to the gut, and and to have grace in whatever process you're in. It's an interesting aspect of life.
Mm-hmm. Having grace, the word grace, yeah, really stood out for me there. Just not being too hard on yourself, but also realizing that there's always more to learn, and it's okay. It's okay to uh, be able to realize that, and be able to acknowledge that, because you want to think you're done, but there's always more.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that comes down to, what we're going to be doing tonight with, playing with some words, some language, rewriting some stories, and kind of a little intro to just what you do with your business. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to experience that. So actually, leading up to that, what do you have in store for us tonight?
Yes. um I would like to I will be sharing about, different some different language games, and sharing about StoryWork, which um I can dive into StoryWork right now, and share about that, because uh it's very powerful. um and StoryWork is the process of taking the stories that we have in our head, and often they're just like right up in front of our face, and they're these views of what we think they are, and only from our own direct experience, and it's only seen from, you know that view of it being right up in our face, where we can find, like, it's just crammed in front of us, and we don't get to see the whole thing. So when through StoryWork we're able to take stories, write them down, which is a huge part of the process. Um and it's how you break spells. And often when people think of spells, they think of magic and witches and wizards, and all this, story, like these fairy tales, and it's a very powerful thing, um to get the words onto paper, because it gets it out of the head, and you're able to see it from a distance. You're able to create that space from your own thoughts, and when you take the stories, you're able to rewrite them, reread them, get your breath in there, um, calm down your nervous system with your breath, and analyze these words and stories, and say, oh, is this true? This may be true at one point in my life, and now it's a completely different scenario. I'm a completely different person, and learning what the story was telling you at that time, and then learning how to rewrite the story into something that empowers you. And like I was saying earlier, like, it's always the lesson that you need to learn. So that story is there to teach you something. And when you're stuck in that story, taking it aside, giving it space, finding clarity in it, and rewriting it to one that empowers you, uh, is is a powerful way to move forward, and break through any limiting beliefs that are there. Um, one of the coolest things that I learned, in the recent year, was the history behind abracadabra, which, as I say abracadabra, most people are just thinking like, oh, magic, doing a magic trick, and making something disappear, or pulling a bunny out of a hat, kind of thing. And it's powerful, because they say that with intention when they're doing these magic tricks. And abracadabra is an Aramaic term, which is super ancient, and it's one of, like, the first languages. And abracadabra translates literally to with my words I create, or with my words I influence. So by speaking these words, by using your words, using your thoughts, the language that you tell yourself, you're creating your reality. How you speak to yourself is a way of how you understand the world and how you share yourself to the world. So speaking these words is a vibration that carries your reality into your own experience. And then spells is even more interesting because in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, spells is a word or a combination of words that has great influence. So understanding these two things, abracadabra and spells, like what you speak and what you write is casting a spell, is casting your reality. And and spells can be very negative or very um hindering to where you want to go. And that's often what spells are thought of. Casting a spell is like a curse. If you're casting a spell, then you're wishing something bad upon a person or bad upon yourself, or in this way. And spells can be very powerful and very positive and very influential to help create more love and more understanding. So like using words to rewrite stories um, is is a lot of fun because you get to laugh at yourself. And if you get to laugh at yourself, then you're giving yourself grace. And anytime that you feel stuck, if you're able to laugh, then you're halfway through it. You're able to see some sort of light in it.
Mhm.
um and then language games are a great opportunity to write down um, all sorts of thoughts, all sorts of mini stories, limiting beliefs, and translate them into uh, stories and opportunities to see light in it, and realize that, like, by changing simple words, it is a powerful impact on how you feel and how your emotional state comes through, and how you notice that you can find inspiration through the words that you feel. It's something that you can feel in real time in your body by changing simple words and simple phrases into more affirmative, rather than negations, and just changing simple words that most people use all day, every day, without like awareness to them, that are creating these um, these levels of ambiguity and taking away from like being certain, um and hiding in a lot of ways. They without knowing the real influence of these words, um it can bring a halt to a lot of potential in life. So I got a lot of fun language games, and I encourage everybody, as in the post and in the Discord and stuff, use your pen and paper here to write these down, get these stories and onto pen or onto paper, and it'll be impacting. Like I'm going to make a big assumption here that a shift will happen just by simply writing down words and translating a few of them, and it's a lot of fun. And um,
Cool. And one thing that actually just stood out is I was at a class that my spiritual life coach held last weekend, and just he described how, like, if you paraphrase certain terms, that could change the entire meaning of things. Like if you say, "I will be able to achieve this," instead of say, I forget what exact paraphrase that he used, but he's like, if you paraphrase it, it changes the meaning. It might not be coming out the way that you expect it to. And the other thing that stood out to me is like how words are literal energy. Like it takes us energy to talk, takes us energy to move our mouths, to use our lips and tongue to say certain words, to pronunciate things, just like it takes energy for me to move from one end of the room to the other. It takes energy, effort, whether you're in a calm tone, whether you're yelling, whether you're laughing, it takes energy to do that. So that energy is going to transform into what your intentions are behind it, just like you said. So pretty cool things that you brought up.
mhm. Yeah, and like the paraphrasing is like, that's a great point because takes things out of context, or puts things into context, and what those words are. And it's interesting because, you know, when people say certain words, like, you know, God, that's a huge one. You know, when I say God, I know what I mean by it, you know, and when I speak it to you and any listeners, like, as soon as I say God, it's like you have this immediate understanding of what God is to you, whether it's somebody that, you know, somebody or something that you have a very profound relationship with and trust with, or you have like some kind of like disgust for the word, and whatever, you know, story lies behind it. You know, these, everybody's understanding of words is different. And
Mhm.
and so like learning about them and learning what words work best for you, that's the most important thing. Like learning how to talk to yourself and how to talk to others based on language that is, you know, powerful to be of more love. You know, like in my opinion, that's the goal, to be more loving and to have more compassion and more understanding. So, and that's humans speak, you know. So
Mhm.
it's like if we can be conscious of our words, then we're we're ahead of the game.
Mhm. Yeah, for real. That's half the that's half the battle right there. And if you can if you can integrate it in your head, so those words become, thoughts in your head on a daily basis, that really empowers you to go ahead and make those moves and change and take action for your higher self. So
Mm-hmm.
well, cool, man. Are you ready to go ahead and get started on this, or do you have anything else that you wanted to add before we go ahead and move along?
um yeah,
Okay.
let's I'm ready to go. And I'd like to just take a moment to drop into a little meditation and do a little bit of embodiment practices before we play these, and harmonize with everybody listening in, and give an opportunity for everybody to just settle into their own bodies, and allow themselves to be where they're at.
Cool. Sounds great to me. Looking forward to this.
I am going to drop just a little tunes, and we'll everybody tuning in, if you're able to, just find a comfortable seated position, whatever that is, whether it's lying down or sitting cross-legged or on your shins, or in your chair, wherever you're at. And you can leave your eyes open if you'd like, or bring them to a gentle rest, and just start to tune into your breath, and be with your body. There's no reason to force your breath at all. And just be where you're at right now. Where you're at is precisely perfect. Take a moment to scan through your body. Notice any sensations, any emotions and feelings that are arising. And start to settle in deeper into your breath. I invite you to begin to deepen your breath by sealing your lips and breathing in through your nose, feeling your belly expand, and exhaling through your nose, whatever pace is right for you. Again, just breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your nose. And I like to invite this idea of what I call the soul space, which is a place deep inside your heart, a place where your soul resides, that bright light that is within all of us, within all of the universe and beyond, that space that connects us all. Space that we feel home in, we feel safe. And using your breath here to connect to that space, knowing that at any point throughout your day, your breath is always a bridge back to your soul, back to your awareness. It's a tool and a craft that can be trained to find present, find gratitude, just to be here in that space. Your soul space is an opportunity to revitalize yourself, to find inspiration, to be in spirit. Find that safe space where you don't have to do anything. You can simply be. Again, breathing in through your nose, expanding through your whole body. And exhaling, allowing gravity to gently push the air out of your lungs. Wherever you're at, like to meet on an exhale. You can blow all the air out through your lips. We'll take 3 inhales together. Inhale through your nose. And exhale, open your mouth, sigh it out, make a noise. Again, inhale through your nose. This time, a little bit bigger of a sigh. Last one here, inhaling through your nose. Big audible sigh out the mouth. Remembering that, again, this breath is a bridge to your soul. Remembering that you're exactly where you need to be. And whenever you're ready, only when you're ready, you can gently blink open your eyes, dropping back into the natural flow of your breath. Beautiful. I feel everyone's presence here, and I'm grateful to be here with you all.
Likewise, brother. That was great.
And yeah, let's get into some language games here.
Dope. Sounds good.
So the first language game I got for everybody is the should your pants game. Everybody shoulds their pants all the time. And it's okay. You know, sometimes we should our pants. So I want to invite everybody to take 3 to 5 sentences, and we'll start with I should, and you can all finish your sentence here, whatever that may be. 3 to 5 sentences of I should clean the dishes. I should exercise more. I should have had that conversation with my loved one. Whatever comes to mind when you hear I should, it's a beautiful answer. And I invite you to drop it in the comments if you feel called to do so.
Yes, for those of you that are watching, you're more than welcome to participate. This is a everyone plays game or
Yes,
activity.
I love it all. And I will assume again that there will be shifts happen. So if you do want to drop it in the chats, please do. I should do something. I should be more kind. I should have helped that person. You know, these shoulds are very unconscious, and just the idea of saying should brings in a level of judgment, whether it's speaking to yourself or speaking to others. You know, you should have done this. I should have done that. These are all ways of people consciously or unconsciously judging themselves or others. And I'll give you a couple more minutes here to write down your should statements, to should your pants.
Love the title. It's great. Also, hello, Boygon Gaming. Thank you for joining the stream. If you like to, if you've been tuning in, listening, you're more than welcome to participate. It's been a while, so I hope you're well. Cool. Am I okay to share a few right now?
Yes.
Cool.
And yeah, I would love to hear it. That'd be great. If you want to read them all or read whatever you wrote down.
Yeah, I got a few that I'm willing to share. So first off is I should be getting more sleep because with the new work gig and moving down here and trying to go for my goals and also I think I briefly mentioned some of my health issues lately. Like just be able to go through my health routine and study and work out. Like it's takes a lot of time, but to try to fit it all in one day, sometimes I only get 6.5 hours of sleep. So especially from Tuesday to Thursday when I go into office. So I feel that struggle and I feel like I'm not as sharp as I should be. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of them. Uh, Next one is I should be spending less time being distracted from my focused goals. And I mean that in terms of like, what I'll be presenting to you on Sunday with goals that I want to go for. I find myself sometimes getting distracted from being on Instagram or wanting to instead try to chat with other people because I think I'm afraid of the failure or not doing it the correct way. Um, so I like ponder about it for a while or resist it before I jump into it. Also affects my work a little bit, but not too much right now. I should be better with my finances, and I know that, but I'm also working on it as well. So that's something that's kind of being proactively. Uh, I'm being proactively educated on, but I haven't I applied some of it, but not all of it yet. I should be I should clean my bathrooms and truck. Just something that I haven't done yet. I've just been feeling lazy about. so so yeah, of
Love it. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
course.
And how did it feel to read those out loud, to say those?
It feels nice to bring them to the forefront. Um, and it was actually surprisingly easy to write them down. Like the first, maybe the last one was one that kind of just was like I wrote it down to add in one more, but the other ones were like, yes, I know, they're pretty apparent. Like you
Hmm.
said, they're right in front of your face. I know what things are taking up my time. I know, um, like I even today, like I know I'm not running 100% on top notch energy. I could tell I'm a little fatigued from not sleeping as well, not as sharp, stuff like that. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
they're pretty easy to bring up.
Hmm. Yeah. And now for a little simple translation, cross out the should and replace that with could. And go ahead and just read those again out loud. You read them out loud to yourself. And Alex, I invite you to read them out again.
Yeah, of course. So I could be getting more sleep was the first one. I could be spending less time being distracted from my focus goals. I could be better with my finances. I could clean my bathroom and truck.
Was there any shift in rereading those with the could?
Yeah, I feel like there's a sense of like it's possible, and there's also a sense of accountability there. Like I'm kind of holding myself to it now that I can be doing those things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now another translation, cross out the could, and you already did it with one there. You can replace it with can. And now I'll add on for the sleep one, replace the could with can, and then after sleep, add in because and finish that statement.
Okay.
You can add in because on all of them actually. Finish. I can do these things because why? And adding a because in there is extremely important. And after adding these changes from going from should to could to can, you know, as you read those, you can feel the difference. And like you said, it creates an accountability, it creates a possibility. And the because is important because that's tying into why you need to do these things or why you get to do these things, and learning that, there's a purpose for this. getting more sleep because I'll have more energy to find focus on my goals so that I'll have better finances.
Get one more, and then I'm good.
These things are simple, and when they begin to be integrated into the self-talk around, getting up in the morning or doing things after work, and realizing that, oh, I can, I should do these things after work. You start with that level of judgment to yourself, and when you judge yourself, you start to belittle yourself. And by learning to translate these things in time, catching yourself when you're doing these things, it creates this opportunity to make a decision, to cut off anything that's not going to be of service to you, and take action on it, just by simply talking yourself into it, using the words to influence yourself by saying, oh, I should do that, wait, I can do that, it's an option.
And even when I started writing down these becauses, like even the cans and becauses, you feel a little resistance there because now you are holding yourself accountable. Now you're like, oh shit, this can be done, but I've been doing certain things to prevent me from doing it or feeling resistance to it.
Mm-hmm.
But making the little shifts makes it less resistance as if you would have just went to because, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start off with these if you don't mind me sharing.
Yeah, please do.
So I can be getting more sleep because I will be more sharp and more successful in my daily endeavors. Can be spending less time being distracted from my focus goals because the opportunity cost of doing the goals will lead to more fulfilling outcomes and growth. I can be better with my finances because it will give me more freedom to explore the world, gain opportunities to continue to heal mentally, physically, and give back to others. And then I should clean my bathrooms and truck because it will lead to, or I can clean my bathrooms and truck because it will lead to cleaner day to day energy and overall happiness.
And again, how did that feel to read those out loud from when you first read the I shoulds?
Good. Especially the one with the opportunity cost, because that makes me think of like it comes down to you either do this thing or the other thing. Like you can't be at two places at the same time. So knowing that like I'm skipping out on choices every time I don't do these things is costing me in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great awareness.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's like, and again, there's no right or wrong to anything in life. So it's a matter of like recognizing, like, oh, did sometimes the should statements are more true. Sometimes they do resonate better, and a little bit of judgment is needed in certain areas of the life to find, this perspective that you need to do what you need to do. And the I coulds can be better, or the I cans can be better. And so, like, learning just by recognizing what language you're using in those simple terms is a great opportunity to figure out, like, okay, if I start to notice that I'm shooting my pants a lot today, how can I translate this to get myself out of the stuck level of judgment and say, I can do this. And even if it's one thing, I should clean my bathroom and truck, even if that's not the most important thing for you to do today, but it's one of the most simple things for you to do today, that's a win, like
Mhm.
recognizing that you can do one thing to take action, and find a little bit of momentum, finding, clear energy in your day, and create that space.
Yeah. And piecing it bit by bit like this doesn't let the guilt build up. It's more of releasing the guilt and bringing empowerment to the situation,
Mm-hmm.
as well as eliminating the voices. Because when you tell yourself subconsciously or consciously that you can, anybody who told you that you couldn't do something, or anybody who, those voices in your head, sometimes those voices in your head aren't even yours. They're just other people who said you couldn't do anything from the past. But when you write it in a way that says I can, because it puts it back, it puts the ball back in your court to be able to take charge to get things
Mm-hmm.
done. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Beautiful said.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, pretty awesome exercise. I love the title of it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it brings, and that's the most important thing. When you can have fun with anything,
Mhm.
things will land more. You're more receptive to understand, and to, you know that's that's what life's about, is having fun. And
Mhm.
so it's like, that's the best way to learn. If you're going to be in a spot where it's just like, you know do this, do that, do this, do that, it's like, no,
No.
resistance.
Yeah.
Have some fun, move the body, get weird. And that's where things will more easily integrate, because you're tying that with that higher emotion of joy.
Mhm. And that's like a big reality shift too. Like I forget what I wanted to say about that, but I just remember reality shift, because it's getting you out of victimization from the past and getting you into, empowerment into the future. So you're literally, by writing it down, you're seeing it visually and not just thinking it, but you're also being able to reprogram it back into your head in a sense to where now this is your new reality essentially. Like you said, shifts can happen. So it's
Hmm.
very cool.
Hmm.
Just like how I was mentioning you, with writing down with Joe Dispenza how you want to feel with certain things, with achieving certain things, it's very similar.
Hmm.
Very cool.
And it's something that you can, notice, like, with an intention for the future. It's like writing down a simple goal, or saying, like, I can do these things. And when you get the opportunity to notice that you're shooting your pants, and then you translate those into, I could do these things, or I can do these things, or I will do these things, like, your body is getting real-time feedback from that emotional shift of feeling like, I can do these things, I will do these things. and
Hmm.
and that's powerful too, is to feel the shift.
Yeah. And what I was also going to say regarding that is like reality shifts is like I find myself getting distracted because the ego is still holding on to the old reality, by getting distracted thinking, checking my Instagram, or watching a YouTube video or something that's not really serving to my future self or future reality or goals. I think the ego gets addicted to, I don't want to call it suffering, because these aren't situations where I really am suffering. It's just situations where I know I could do better mentally, but the body's still holding on to it, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, there are levels of comfortability,
Yes. Yes. For sure. And I found myself doing that a lot in my new role at work, because I don't I come from an old role where I had 11 years of experience, and now part of me's, some of it carried over a little bit in
Hmm.
networking wise, but a lot of it's still brand new. And I find myself, checking my phone because I feel uncomfortable being the newbie there. Um, yeah, so I find myself like, oh, like I'm afraid to fail. I'm afraid to piss off a customer, or, you know, afraid to embarrass myself like I don't know enough in front of people who do, and thinking I should be on their level. So yeah, it's weird how often, like the one day I even had to put my phone in my book bag just to be like, no, like I'm not allowed to touch it for like an hour type thing. And eventually I started, my body was like, it's okay. All right, we're good. We could get this done. Just take it one thing at a time. What do you got to do right now? What do you have to do right then? And then I would get that thing done, and then it would cascade into another thing. So playing with words like these, saying that you can and because is powerful to go in tandem with that.
Hmm. Love that. And let's we'll move into another word game here.
Okay.
Um, and these things, this one's really fun. Um, like, so this is called the what if game. And when everybody what ifs themselves, it's always what ifing the bad shit, always what ifing, these terrible outcomes. And it's like, what if I fail? What if, like you were saying, what if I, have a bad interaction with a customer? Or what if I upset an employee? Or what if I don't make ends meet? What if I do all these things? Well, what if the good shit, like, what if you, and this is a great way to like find opportunities of goal setting and ways to, find inspiration and be curious about like what is possible. um and so like this is a simple, you can do three what if statements here of what if, and let your mind go crazy. Let your, there's no limit here. What if I won the lottery tomorrow and I was $400 million in my pocket? What if I owned my own company? I had 50 employees and I was able to give, you know, give back to my community in ways that I never imagined. These what if things are really powerful.
Cool.
And it creates a level of inspiration of like, when you write these things down and allow yourself to be curious of what is possible, you begin to think about ways to achieve it. What if I was married and I had a beautiful family and I lived in the most beautiful place that I found on earth? What if I am able to expand and play music at music festivals that I am only experiencing as a participant? It's like, when you what if the good shit, you give yourself the opportunity of curiosity, and it's a great way to see the light in the world, to see the light in your world.
Mm-hmm. I'm writing these down. We got some good ones.
And then, like I was saying too, when you what if the good shit, you start to imagine the ways of how you can achieve these things. Same thing in the opposite. When you what if the bad shit, you think of every single possible scenario that will lead you to the terrible outcome. What if I slip up and say things that I shouldn't have said, and now my life goes to shambles? What if I get fired from my job and I no longer can pay rent, and now I have to sell all the things that I find most dearest to my heart? And you start to imagine all of the ways that you can screw up. And then that's a level of creating your reality, because when you focus on whatever is in your mind, those are what you begin to see in the world. Your mind starts to filter in those bad things, and vice versa. If you focus on the good stuff, if you what if the good stuff, you start to focus on those open-ended possibilities and those doors that are right around the corner. And you'll soon realize that they are right around the corner. They're one step away. And it all began with imagining, what if this is possible?
Definitely. There's something that you just said that stood with me for a minute, and then I was writing down and I lost it, but it'll come back. Are you cool if I share these?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So the first one is something that you already kind of pointed out that kind of led me into thinking more about joining your courses and your one-on-ones. But what if group therapy becomes more successful with consistent high viewership and financial kickback? Like it doesn't have to be full time, income, but at least enough to be like, yeah, we could really put more, money back into the stream and make it even better than what it is. And just like, I'm getting decent viewers now, anywhere like I was saying from 5 to 10 viewers. But what if we're getting 50 viewers a time? Same with your yoga sessions. What if we're getting, what if we're able to scale it to more eyeballs? Um, Next one I wrote is what if I create my own music album? That's something that I'm going to be working on Sunday with steps to work on my music and get past that beginners phase. So really seeing what that looks like what type of music do I want to make? Maybe not limiting myself to one type style of music, but knowing also where to start. Um, Next one is what if I get my CCNA, my work certifications? So the first one is CCNA, which I'm aiming to get within the next year. CCNP is the more advanced one, which takes probably another 2 years. And the CCIA, which is like the top dog, top notch one. Like you made it in life when you get that one. I mean, you made it in life when you get any of these, but like professional, like engineering is CCIE, and that's probably another 2 to 4 years on top of that. So what if I am able to climb that ladder and get all three of those? That's something that's like that and my blue black belt in jujitsu are like two long term goals that I see a vision for. I just have to really stick to it. And then
Mm-hmm.
the last one is what if I become financially free and sound to be able to travel and still work my job? Find being able to just maybe spend a week somewhere and not have to worry about just being able to get an Airbnb that has good internet access, so I could still work remotely and still spend the evenings going to check out a yoga class out in, I don't know, Phoenix, or go check out what's the popular city in Texas right now, Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Austin for a week, go work, maybe go visit the Cisco offices down there and go work down there, go meet people and still be able to work my job. Cause I love my job, but I think it'd just be neat to be able to go do my day to day sometimes in other places. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man. Powerful stuff. And like as you were expanding on that, that simple beginning statement of like, what if I were just able to do these things? Like your mind, I could see it in your face, and the way you're talking is like you were just like rolling through it. You're like, oh, as soon as I started thinking about this and wrote this down, you know, your mind just kept going, and it's
Yeah.
like then you can, and that's where you begin to, you know, figure out how to do those things. It's like, what if this was possible? well, I thought it, so it must, there's a way to get there, you know.
Because even like with group therapy, I was just gonna write down what if group therapy takes off, but now it's like as I was writing, I was like, well, what else would I want group therapy to be? If I dig down into the specifics. So that's where I wrote high viewership, financial kickback. Because high viewership, I just want this to be able to benefit as many people as possible, and it comes full circle. It helps me grow as well. A full circle approach. It's a win-win for everybody. And then financial kickback because I just want to be able to contribute back to the stream. Updated flyers, updated graphics, the artistic emotes, the badges when you contribute, donate to the stream, more better gear, just maybe even some get somebody like anti-aliasing, maybe not at his level yet, but somebody there to just to be able to uh make improvements to the stream, or even just enough to be able to pay people to improve it themselves. I don't have to do it myself, but have group therapy maybe not just be a one-man show anymore. Maybe somebody else finds passion in contributing to a stream in their ways, and I could at least pay them something for their efforts, stuff like that. Because challenge right now is I'm able to do this, but it is as well as you are with your passion projects, but it also comes at a cost of time. And if you're able to get a team involved or outsource it, then it really helps. You can really, sky's the limit at that point. You can really expand upon it. So yeah.
Yeah, what if, it's
Mhm.
like, and like you said, as you were writing that first one, it's like the more specifics started to come into play and started to roll through the mind. And then, and when you get specific, that's where these what ifs become real attainable,
Mhm.
because as you start to think about them, you start to fine tune it to like, what is it that I really want to scale in this? What do I really want to, how do I really want to give back? What is like the most potential I can do to give back? And 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 then, yeah, like I was saying, you start to imagine the ways to do that. And
Mhm.
um
And it's funny because they all play into each other. So like, if I may be able to become financially free, and I'm one able to travel, two I would be able to contribute, get others with their craft involved in group therapy, which would give me more time to work on my music and give me more time to study and go about other activities, but I'm still able to maintain this passion project because I really enjoy doing this, like more than a lot of things, or else weekly weekly setup can be challenging. Like, oh, I got to go through the motions and get this set up. I got to get the flyer going, and I'm not saying it in terms of complaining, but I'm saying in terms of like it is time consuming. It takes
right.
up your time out of your week, but to be able to lift this off the ground, keep it running, and then go explore other avenues while keeping this going would just be a big blessing. So it's just cool putting that together right now, how they can elevate each other in a sense.
Hmm. Yeah, that's powerful to see the reflection and like how they, you know can contribute to each other. They can each piggyback off of one another to find the bigger purpose.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any of yours that you know off the top of your head or that you have written down?
um yeah, so like one of mine was, um and this is has since become a reality of for me over the past year, um of what if I owned my own homestead and was able to have my own farm, raise my own animals, live off grid, um, be able to commune with the sun and moon, and just live presently on the land, simply. And since doing that, that specific what if was a long shot when I was writing that one down. That was a big what if. And uh and since then, it's became a reality. I began to focus on what I needed to do to make that happen, to focus on what it is that was going to, most lead me there. And it was a bunch of small steps of consistent searching, consistent saving, taking leaps of faith into the unknown, choosing, like making decisions that were, you know, setting boundaries and cutting off certain things that I knew were going to hinder me from reaching that possible potential, um, leaning into uncomfortable positions so that I could find growth and find that big what if. Um, and yeah, it was what if I and I could, and so the totality of it has yet to been fulfilled. The original of it was, what if I owned my own homestead, um, with my partner and family, and so I've got the homestead, and the partner and family is on its way.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere out there. It just hasn't been lived in the concept of time yet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You
But
got to build your foundation first
exactly,
to invite them in.
it's the homestead is there. And it was, it's especially where I'm at right now. What ifing that was like where I'm at living in Michigan now, and my homestead is something that I never imagined 2-3 years ago and earlier and stuff was, and now I'm extremely grateful and know, like I'm exactly here for a reason. Um and so that one has been a huge one to just see the power of it, because when I started to what if that statement, it was like, even though there was a level of writing it down and not recognizing at the time that it is very attainable, though writing it down was the start of me to analyze, like, what would be the route to get to this mountaintop here? How would I maneuver through these mountains and this forest to get to you know, my homestead, wherever that's at, wherever it is? So it's like I started to imagine different ways and realized that I could think of everything that I needed to do to get to that, to be that person that needed to be there. So that one was a big what if, and it's powerful to reflect back on it, and started out as a simple question,
Mm-hmm.
and like another what if is my is what if I own my own retreat center, um, and I lead mountaineering expeditions tied in with health and wellness practices that lead people to a better understanding of, you know, what their purpose is, and connecting them to nature. And again, that's another big what if. And it's the beginning of the process, because it's something that I desire. And when I imagine it, um, it's a place where I can expand on and just be curious. and and that's what's fun to me about these language games is it opens up curiosity, and particularly this one, because it's it's a dream, and then you write it down and it's like, hmm, there's something in this world now that can be visualized and be seen, not just by myself and my own thought process of talking to myself in my head. The moment that I wrote it down, it's like I can share this piece of paper with you. I can share it with somebody else, and it's a part of this realm now, which really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think like actually looking at it instead of just having it in your head, because when you put it in your head, like sometimes you do get distracted or some other thought comes in your head and you don't really get to embellish or really dig deep on that. You're just like, oh, what if, oh, okay, I gotta go do this now, or I gotta go do that. So
Mm-hmm.
now just staring at it, or even having it written down so you come back to it. Like when I was going through like a rough time, I was like trying to, and this is actually talking about like how you had to make decisions, what if to get to your homestead. It talks, I thought about like you only not have to make decisions for yourself, but you might also have to let go of certain people, which is such a big, it's something that I was struggling with for a long time because I used to be such a big people pleaser, and it still comes out in me. But it's something that, in order to go down the path you wanted to go down, like in order you to get your own homestead, or in order to me to move down here, I had to let go, you had to probably let go of certain people to achieve the dream that you want, or even just not spend so much time with certain people who were kind of, as we like, some people like to call them energy vampires in the most nice way. But in order for me to move down here, I had to let go of certain things in Ohio, certain people, certain groups, stuff like that. And and I forget where I was going with that. But essentially you just have to learn to let go of certain people and make the right decisions to get where you want to get to. And
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Learning to let go of people is such a hard thing for me. I go through, I feel like I go through ego deaths or go through struggles when I do that, because it's sometimes you have to do it without letting them know, and sometimes you have to have the conversation about it, whether or not they understand it or not. So,
Hmm.
and if they're willing to join you on that next chapter and support you, then cool. But if not, then it's tough because you have good memories with those people, and but you ultimately know that's going to lead you somewhere better. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, totally. And it's a challenge, especially when there's, releasing people in a way that involves conflict and stuff, because it's uncomfortable,
mhm.
and the body and the mind wants to stay in comfort, and the ego wants to stay in comfort as much as possible, even though it knows that it wants something more. And that's the thing about decisions, is like, decision is a powerful word to reflect on too, because it comes from like ancient Greek, when and lean and means to cut off. So when you make a decision, it's not about pulling in, it's about cutting off. When you make a decision, you're setting boundaries, and you're saying, this is no longer, this is a disservice to me, to my potential and stuff. So when you make a decision, it's not that you're like, you know and in our language, we shift things around and stuff, so it's like, I'm deciding to do something that's good for me, but in reality, is what you're doing is you're deciding to cut off what is a disservice, and what's no longer, beneficial for your dreams and goals. And it's an interesting thing to reflect on for me, about decisions, because when you decide, it's not a intention of saying, I intend to do this thing. It's no more, you know, like, it's a big old, fuck yes, of like, no more of this.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
and
learning to say no is such a hard, like we were taught growing up not to say no. Our parents tell us not to say no to things, to want to do things, and we always thought saying no is a bad thing, but in reality, saying no becomes a superpower
right.
because you have to say no to things that for you to say yes to things that you want to do. And even if friends asking you to go take a trip, I've had friends this year ask me like, "Hey, why don't you come visit, me at this place, or come take this trip here?" When I realize it's not in the best order for me to do that when I'm working on my finances and want to save up for, like I said, to be able to travel and work, or even to buy a house within the next couple of years. Like it's an underrated superpower, and it's a word that people, I think, shine too much of a negative light on.
Hmm. And oftentimes it's all projections, coming from those other people, when it's you're know where your boundaries lie, and it's hard to say no to certain people, or to certain experiences, because you know it's going to be fun in a lot of ways, and you know that it'll be, a good release and a good opportunity to be present and stuff. Like having these reflections of, like a lot of times, like I'll even experience that if like people say you should come visit me or you should come do this. And it's like, what word did they just use? Should. And it's
Mhm.
like, that's a big old projection. That's a big old judgment of what they think I should do, of what,
Mhm.
they think is right. So it's like, instead of asking, people say you should do this, and they're projecting this level of judgment on you in ways, and then that word can get in your head unconsciously. So it's a powerful thing to reflect on, and
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. Also, hello, Collective Rhythm. Thank you for joining. Hope you've been enjoying this. I don't know if you just joined in now or earlier, but I hope you enjoying this. And yes, I'm not gonna lie, I did think of you whenever I was talking about the word no and my financial goals about me wanting to go to Colombia. It sounds like a great time, but yes, I have to say no to that. I'm so sorry. I have to provide an example, and I wish you guys all the best, and I hope you guys have a blast. But yeah, moving down here was a big financial task, and and I also see where I need to move forward. So love you too, brother. I appreciate it, and I knew you guys would understand because you got we all have moments where you have to say no to things. So I'm glad you guys are okay with it, but I'm sure you guys will have a blast. And please take pictures, smoke one for me, drink one for me, all that good stuff. Collective Rhythm. It's a buddy of mine, Dan. I actually met him through like Radiate through just group chat, and then we went to Electric Forest. He actually group camped in the last year. It was the year before COVID when it was Blue Noodle Funktopus. Yeah, that was what it was called before it was Get Your Shit Together. So yeah, 2019. So he's a very fan as well. But I told him he has to come back next year. So
Love it.
you could say no to that too. So feel free. But the invitation's open.
Love it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, man. What ifs are a great start to just opening the door on a lot of things. And then uh yeah, and I'll dive into a little bit of the soft talk, because I know this is very important, and this is great for day-to-day relationships, professional relationships, um relationships with yourself and your own dialogue and stuff. And it's a good opportunity to leave a challenge for you and for any listeners who decide um to cut these words out, and notice what happens when you do. And so soft talk is super interesting because it just really creates a lot of ambiguity in like what you're saying, how you're relating to people, how you're pushing off accountability with yourself, with friendships, with professional relationships with your bosses and other employees and stuff. And so it's like, and you can even write this into translation of one of your we can use your I should be less distracted from my goals scenario. It's like, if you add in a couple of these soft talk words, I should maybe be more, or maybe be less distracted from my goals, to hopefully be better at what I love to do, streaming group therapy. And it feels like I could possibly do that one day.
Mhm.
All these words are you releasing accountability, releasing any, you know, ownership of what is possible. And like all these words, all these soft talks words, I'll list them out here. They're your maybes, possiblies, probablys, sort of, seems like, hopefully, trying, I guess, shoulds, coulds, woulds. These are all ways that you slip in to take away the real ownership of saying, you know, I'm going to do these things, or I'll be there at this time. It's like, I always like this one because this is one that I used to use a lot when I was younger. People would ask me to go out to the bar or to go out to a show or a concert or something. And when I would knew that I wanted to say no to them, I would say, yeah, I'll maybe be at the bar, or I'll maybe go to the show tonight, or I'll try and make it there, knowing that I wasn't going to go, knowing that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to go. And I was using these words as a way to just be nice, and say no without saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a powerful thing at work, where it's like, you know, I'm trying to get this work done. Or, it's like, if you remove these words, you'll notice the shift immediately. So saying, I'm trying to lose some weight, or I'm trying to eat better, I'm trying to get my health together. If you notice you're using these words, it's simple to take them out and see how it feels. I'm trying to outsource certain aspects of my job to be more free. It's like, are you trying? Or as Yoda would say, there is no try, there's do or do not. Like, there's big power in that, because when you take that out, it gives yourself the certainty and the accountability of like, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this, and it's a decision right there to make it happen. And often, having soft talk in your language is beneficial, depending on your relationship with the person and what the context of the conversation is and stuff. It's, again, no right or wrong. But when you use these words as a way to get out of certain things, to, create that disconnect of like saying yes or no or being honest, it's a way for you to you give away your power in that aspect.
Mm.
So taking these words out is super quick and easy to notice like a positive, solid shift in the way that you talk to yourself and others. And so the soft talk challenge is really simple. It's a 7 to 21 day challenge, and I can drop these words, or I can send them to you, and you can drop them in the link, or when you put this on the YouTube or wherever you do.
Yeah.
And just writing these words out bigger than usual, throwing them up on your fridge. And like you said earlier, when you start to write out these things and you can see these and get them out of your head and thoughts and not just forget about them, you'll start to realize, like, when am I using these words, and become more conscious of these words, noticing that, oh, I talked to this one specific person at work, or whenever my boss asks me about these things, I'm often using perhaps, or guess, or I might, or possibly. Like, you'll notice what soft talk words you use most in each relationship, and then seeing how it feels to take these words out, to eliminate them. And you'll notice a shift of energy, a shift of accountability in yourself, and often, like, actually getting and achieving different actions easier, because you're no longer creating a distance from what you want to do and what you say you're going to do. And it's like, you know as a human, like, our word's important, like our actual word, like that trust level of like speaking, you know when you say maybe I'll be at the show tonight, and you know that you're not going to be there, that creates a level of distrust between you and whoever you're going to say it to. Even though you're saying maybe and you're leaving it open ended, like to them and to you, there's a level of yes, even though you know you mean no. So
Mhm.
it's um so like discovering what words you use from the soft talk challenge is a really potent way of just being curious of like, okay, if I say I'm going to do a certain thing to this person and I notice that I'm using probably a lot, what happens if I remove that word? Is what I'm saying to them still true, even though I take out the probably, or do I need to reframe all of what I'm saying to to be true and to be more aligned with my words and with my intention? And then it creates more trust within yourself, within others. If you say you're going to do something, then you're going to do it. If you say I'm trying to do something, then it gives you an out. It's like, oh, I tried my best. It's like, did you?
Mhm.
Maybe you did. Maybe you could have done better. So it's really fun too, just because these are the most subconscious words that people use um, all the time.
Mhm.
And and I've noticed from my own experience and people I've worked with that as soon as you eliminate these words, big shifts happen, and it's really powerful.
Mhm.
But yeah, soft talk challenge, simple 7-day thing, just to gain awareness, and to reflect on what words you're using to get yourself out of accountability and ownership.
Yeah, I actually want to take like mark them on my phone and put it to the front of my phone. So every time I open my phone, I see those words. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that like I can refer to that as words not to use.
That's
So,
beautiful. And like I'll share this. It's going to be backwards, but this is my phone screen, and it says,
oh, that's cool.
I manifest mountains as my home.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing what you're talking about, and the reason that you're I'm saying to put it on your fridge or to put it in your bathroom mirror is so that you're training the brain to focus in on what you're seeing, and then you start to become more aware of it when you filter into these words and into these things. And this goes back on my phone screen here, this goes back to my what if. My homestead is called Soul Mountain, and and I always thought when I wrote that down it was going to be mountains that were my home. In a way they are, because it's my biggest mountain right now that I'm climbing, and
Yeah,
uh and it's just manifested in a different way than I realized it would. um but yeah, the that's big and a good idea to put it on your phone. So
definitely.
I
Uh,
encourage that.
yeah, for sure. Two things I wanted to bring up while you were discussing that is one, I actually caught you catching yourself in the beginning. I forget when you were going to present this. Caught yourself with one of those soft talk words and you changed it to "I will present this." I think I forget what you said first, but I remember you changing it to "I will be presenting this." Sounds like he caught himself. That's wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
That's good awareness right there. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, one thing that Collective Rhythm, my buddy Dan brought up is we were playing. I don't know if you ever played any of the Halo games, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Halo fan, and he's never played any of them, so I'm taking him through the journey. And we played Reach, we beat Reach, and we're on Halo 1. And we were playing through it on Saturday, and his mom came in to ask him if he can pick up his dad from somewhere. And usually he would say like the soft talk words, but I heard him straight up say no to her. And I was like, wow, yeah, he actually like said no. Like he even said something along the lines of like, I usually would go ahead and do it, but I want to, this time I'm just like, no, like I need to set my boundaries, and reestablish my ground. So it was pretty cool hearing him say that.
Yeah, respect. It takes a
Mhm.
lot, because it's comfortable and it's easy, and it gives an out.
It's your family. You don't, you have hard, you don't want to disappoint your family, but at the same time, you want to be able to establish boundaries. And I feel like establishing boundaries in the long run just might be uncomfortable in the moment, but also earns a lot of respect in the long run. So you got to think long term versus short term in that aspect.
Hmm.
And yeah, Clark, he said it, and it's his mom. He's so hard to say no to your mom. So
Yep. Yep. I feel that. I feel that. And also, when you say no, you know, it's with love too, So it's like when you say maybe, or you think I might do this, or possibly I'll do that, and then if you decide not to, like I was saying earlier, like that person is leaving it open ended. It's like, oh, they might do this, then that's a yes to them, you know? Or so if you decide not to do it, now they're upset. But if
yep,
you're straight up and say, no, this is a boundary, or, no, I'm doing this, I can't make this, it's like, okay, I
yeah,
understand, you know,
yeah,
there's no in between. It's like, no. So it creates a lot of, again, trust with like, okay, they said no, big whoop, I'll figure it out,
hmm
like I'm not depending on them, or um so yeah.
yeah. And I might always turns out to be most of the time turns out to be a no for you, but a yes for them.
Right.
It's a yin to the yang effect. It's not a no. It's not a no no. It's a yes no type of thing.
Right.
They always expect that you eventually would say yes. So if
Exactly.
anything, soft talk leads to miscommunication.
Hmm.
Pretty cool aspect though. I've remember hearing about that. I think you actually posted about it recently, but hearing about it again and actually wanting to apply it is gonna be pretty cool.
Hmm.
Lots
Hmm.
of lots of cool stuff here tonight. So appreciate it.
Hmm. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and let me talk words and language. It's been a game changer for me to be more conscious, and a lot of the people that I work with and stuff, and it's simple things, that that language does for you, simple and effective. So
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Well, Ryan, we are getting close to the 10:30 mark. I wanted to go ahead and I'll play a little music before we end stream tonight. Probably play for another half hour, 40 minutes. But before we close, was there anything else you wanted to present?
I am super grateful to for you to have me on here, and to connect with you, and had a lot of fun. I if people do want to learn more and work with me at all, they can reach me on social media at Soul Mountain Coaching on Instagram. I also have my own podcast, Summit to Soul Mountain, where I dive into different stories from other people, and yeah, and then as I've got my goal setting play shop with my brother Bill coming up, and that's on Sunday. So if you have any interest, you can always reach out to me and ask me questions about that. Um, and Yeah, again, this is a lot of fun.
Definitely, definitely appreciate the time and definitely and can see that you have a big passion for this for what you do. I've seen what you got to do personally with yoga for one of your classes, but I'm excited to link up again in the future. Maybe have you on again for one of those sessions. As I appreciate yoga. I've been doing a lot of. I try to get in at least yoga or qigong is something I've also been recently getting into. So I try to get those in some a few times a week, whether it's just 10 minutes here, just to get the body moving. Because in the evenings I tend to work out, and being able to move the body in a different sense in terms of stretching it out and energy movement helps me get prepared for the day and getting ready for that kind of activity. So very, very cool stuff what you do. And I went ahead and posted all your links in the chat there for everyone to follow. So feel free to check him out. Feel free to check out his Soul Mountain journey and any of those links if you want to connect with him. He also does one-on-one sessions, and he also has you have a 6-week program as well.
Yep.
Cool.
6 week. And then I'm also working on creating a little bit more immersed 8 to 10 week course as well.
Cool. And then this Sunday, you're also doing the goal setting workshop. So if anybody is interested in that, is there still spots open?
Yep. Yep. There's still a
Cool.
few spots open. So
What time is that at on Sunday?
that is at 6:33 Eastern Standard Time.
Is that Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday
Sunday.
at
Okay, cool.
6:33 p.m.
Cool. 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 I will definitely be there. Cool. Get my workout done earlier that day. Cool.
Righteous.
Um, Joker, man, dude, I didn't even know you were lurking here. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Yoinks, by the way. Every time we see each other, he goes yoinks. So it's just a thing that we came up with over the year. But thank you so much for jumping in, Joker. Hope you're doing well. Was listening to it like a podcast in the background. Awesome, man. Hope you got a lot out of it. This will also be up on YouTube. I'll try to get it up this weekend. If not this weekend, probably sometime throughout the week, this upcoming week or weekend. And yeah, definitely great content here. Learned a lot. And yes, I will get it up for sure. It will be on YouTube without a doubt. I love it. I love it. Joker, do you have any that you'd like to share before you head off that you came up with, even if it's something simple? Or Dan?
And also, yeah, I'd like to take time. Thank you everybody for tuning in and listening and joining. Super appreciate you.
Yeah.
I can get to
Awesome.
bed before 11.
There you
Love it.
go. Yep. It's a good one. You definitely can, brother. Well, Ryan, brother, thank you so much. It's great to connect. Collective Rhythm says depression is anger turned inwards. Yes. Yes. We actually chatted about that the other day. That's a great quote because, we were talking about how depression is anger turned inwards and anger is like armor for sadness.
Mm.
So you think about it, you get sad first and then you start resenting things that you're sad about and it turns into anger. So it's like you got to deal with the anger first to get to the sadness. And it usually, it's a reverse process
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. So, but
Totally.
very, very, very cool. Very cool. Thank you guys for sharing. But yeah, Ryan, thank you again, brother. Great to connect with you. So cool meeting you at Forest. Um, Hopefully next time we'll get to. I know we were all under our own avenues, but hopefully next time we get to go on some avenues together. And looking forward to eForest 2024. I'm sure you'll meet some of these fellows in chat as well if they want to go. I won't force you guys, but yeah, it was great connecting with you. If you ever come down to North Carolina, feel free to link up. Hopefully, you get a show down here that we're both interested in going to, and yeah, maybe we'll get Pretty Lights down here.
Yes. We'll
So,
manifest it.
without a doubt, there's something else I wanted to share. Halloween, is Pretty Lights playing at Halloween this year? No. Dang. Oh well. Future stuff. Yeah, without a doubt. But
He is?
what is your favorite type of house music? So in regards to, I'm going to be playing some music after this. So I'm typically like a house, techno, and drum and bass DJ. I'm starting to dive into dub a little bit. Haven't had enough of a collection to do so yet, but I play about any subgenre of house that you've heard of. Played trance. That's actually what got me into DJing. And I played techno and drum and bass. So dealer's choice, whatever you want to hear tonight.
Well, I'm a born and bred Dirty Bird player right here. So,
Oh shit.
Claude Von Strokes, my boy.
Yeah.
He's Justin Martin. J Flip is a gangster.
Yeah.
Um, I love the Dirty Bird. That's Detroit right there. So I'll
Yes.
throw that in the mix.
All right. I got plenty of that. We can make that
All
happen for sure. Oh, I'm
right.
excited. That's digging in the crates. Cool. And
Okay.
then can I get a number from 1 to 12?
12.
Awesome. Love it. That's actually my favorite number. So cool.
That's my
That
favorite number too, man. Game
hell
recognized game.
yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Da da da, homie. So in regards to that, the whenever you're analyzing tracks, they go by the Camelot scale, and it starts at one and goes to 12, and then there's scales in terms of major and minor. So usually I ask chat, give me a number from 1 to 12, and that sets the tempo for the night. So, but since I had you on, I decided to give the honors to you. So
Righteous.
awesome. I'll find some Dirty Bird within that range, and we'll vibe out for a little bit. Cool.
Right on, man. I'm
Oh,
definitely gonna stay on and tune in. So
appreciate it. Oh, Collective Rhythm. No, he's in Michigan, so I don't think he would have went to camping. Unless you traveled down there for it, but
no, I missed all the camp outs and stuff. So
gotcha. Maybe a future one.
yeah,
That's cool though.
yeah,
It's cool that they're right out of Detroit too. Also, fun fact: Claude is actually born in Cleveland,
yes,
but
sir.
you knew
Yes,
that? Okay,
old
okay,
Barkley Crenshaw, my boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Yep.
yeah. Right out of my hometown. It's pretty neat to find
That's
that out.
awesome.
But I mean, yeah, I don't blame him from going to Detroit. That's the birthplace of how techno, so and
Hmm.
tech house. So yeah, got to go where the soul is. So
Yep.
well, Ryan, thank you so much again. Appreciate you. All that you do. This is definitely needed in the world as much as our all of our passions are. But there's definitely a lot of this that I gained out of it, and I'm excited to work with you moving forward, and really get to even resonate on just what we worked on today. This is some great seeds that are planted, and I'm excited to see what comes out of these in the future, whether
Right.
subconsciously or not. So, thank you again, man.
Love it, man. Thank you so much for having me. And
No
yeah,
problem.
it's been a lot of fun.
Sounds good. We'll link up again in the future, and have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you Sunday.
Yes, sir. See you then.
Sounds good. Cheers.
Bye.